So yeah, the navigation at the top, that should be the same across all the pages. I think what we want to convey here is that this is a page with multiple species on them.
Yes.
One of the things that I think is always important is to give people an idea of where they are on the site, because they might come in from search, or they might not get to this page by going to the home page and then programs, and then they might not drill in the way that it's structured. They might come in from somewhere else entirely. So the first thing you want to tell them is like, where am I on the site? So maybe that's what this title or mini blurb is.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what we were gonna put there yet. So, but yeah, so you're saying, like, what suggestion do you have?
I would find a way to make that as prominent as possible. The picture certainly reinforces it, but I would do something like this and find a way to overlay it on the image, just so you're really reinforcing that telling people that this is where they are.
Okay.
On the site, and then also maybe have an indication of where they are, not just the name of the page, but where they are within the site.
Okay.
So that doesn't have to be quite as prominent, but we could do, like, say, a breadcrumb, for example.
Okay.
So let's see, this page is going to be under Programs and Alliances, and then Carnivores. So there we go. And maybe this is kind of a common place for it. And then so we've kind of told them where they are, and then this might be a good place to do that navigation that you mentioned. I would make this kind of big, and I would make these text links, because a link kind of implies that I'm going to go somewhere, either to a different page on the site or somewhere on the same page.
Included the button. Okay.
Yeah, whereas a button is more of like an action. I'm going to donate or something like that.
Okay.
And I would make it something very clear about, like, why these animals.
Yeah, I was gonna do that individually, like under, declining population, why they're declining, why it's important to save them. But you're saying it might be more helpful to have that at the beginning, kind of like a blurb of generally why we do what we do right up front for all the species on the page.
Well, or even at kind of a higher level than that, like, why are you showing me these animals as opposed to other animals? So it's the fact that these are the ones that need conservation and protection effort, and we have chosen these. So it's kind of like why? Can you tell me why these animals?
Yeah. Real quick before we get into that, how did you choose the whole page to go down?
I will tell you in just a second.
Great. Well, go ahead.
So I just used the kind of the drag lasso thing to do it. But you can also, if you have a group of things, you can select things, and then you can click this group button, and then they'll turn purple, and then you can move things around all together.
Ah, okay, cool.
And then once you group them, you can ungroup them. So I would make this something. I would make this a little bit bigger. You want to use this concept of kind of hierarchy here. So things that are bigger are a little bit more prominent, and things that are smaller are less important. So the first thing that people want to know is what page am I on? And so you have the image and the big text. Um, you know, knowing where they came from is kind of like, that's less important. And it's more like, okay, either I'm on the wrong page or now I want to go somewhere else. So then you can kind of go there. But if you're going to ask somebody to then kind of navigate within the page, this is in a way almost like a page title because it's, um, you know, you want to attract people's attention to it. So I would give it its own line and make it kind of a bigger text. And then I don't know if you necessarily need like a line, but something that might tell you that this is a type of navigation. So using these kind of section breaks or lines will kind of indicate to people that this is like kind of a navigation within the page. So in the same way that this kind of navigation bar at the top tells you this is the navigating around the site, this kind of having this area kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like, kind of separated out, kind of tells people this is for getting around the site or the page, and then the content is going to go below it.
Okay.
Does that kind of
Yes, that makes sense.
jive with you a little bit?
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a page with only 2 species, this is perfect. But I'm wondering what the best thing to do is for source population alliance with 10 species. Yes, I want all 10 at the top, but let's say someone chooses, I don't know, the 5th one and they click on it. And then they go all the way to the 5th one, but I don't want them to have to scroll all the way back up to get to that part again. What is the best option there? Is it to have some type of button that automatically takes you all the way up, or
I think the best thing to do is just next to the name, a pretty common thing is just something that says
back to top or something.
Back to top, yeah, and it's pretty subtle, but people recognize it immediately. I was just on a site recently that did this, and it was also a long page, and it's kind of a nice convention. So I would do that. So the first one is going to be the cheetah, right?
Yes.
So then I would make, now we're kind of like, so that now we're thinking about the heading. So this is your kind of your top level heading, which is the name of the page. And now you're going to be on your second level heading, which would be the name of the species. So if you're thinking about this kind of from a hierarchy, as far as content, that's going to be the second most important. So it's kind of a subtitle within the page. So I would also make this fairly large, so that when you're browsing it, one thing, you mentioned something about spacing as a way to indicate that there's different groups of content, and that's effective, but also using text size is important too. So, even if I have a bunch of things that are kind of densely put together, if I have this big text, followed by small text, even if it's, I'll show you in just a second.
Okay.
Even if these are kind of packed closely together, I immediately see these as distinct sections.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used a little shortcut that we built in where if you hold down the T key, it just does a block of text for you, and you can just drag it like that.
Okay.
You can do the same thing by adding this, like a block of text here in this UI library. And you probably have this UI library expanded like this. I just happen to, since I know the program well, I search for things, but it's all up here. So this is this block of text. So that can be a nice thing if you're just saying like, okay, text goes here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I would make that, I would just make this text fairly prominent.
Yes.
You may not need the back to top here, but maybe for the subsequent ones. So, all right.
Question. So I know I had talked to some people who have said like to not have content too far to, at each edge.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I just saw, I mean, visually, like when I first did my very first time I did anything like this last month, I had everything like you do right now, like stay
Mm-hmm.
the side because that's just how my brain works. That's just, but so what do you generally recommend to leave like some space on both sides or?
Well, there's two issues. One, I think having the content on the sides is fine. There's generally this idea of the F scanning pattern, which is where people will scan down the left-hand side and then go to the right when there's kind of connected text.
Okay.
So that's a fairly common scanning pattern. In left to right written languages, having things in the right is less is not as good for catching attention, but having things left aligned and then going across is generally considered fine. There is another issue like responsive design, like when you
Yes, that's what
scales for different screen sizes. And what you might want to do in that case is just have, and this is something you don't necessarily need to do in this wireframe phase, but
okay.
and Wix might even do this for you, having kind of like a maximum width.
Yes.
So it will scale, it will stay to the left until you reach a maximum size, at which point it will just stretch out, it will be white on the left,
Okay.
how do I explain it?
Oh, I know.
It
I
will,
know. Yeah, I've.
okay, yeah, yeah. It will
So,
look more like this when you
okay.
expand it
Okay.
larger. And so that's something that you can think about when you're actually implementing it.
Okay.
But in the design phase, I would just kind of assume that left and right mean up until a certain width,
Okay.
because text is easier to read when it's left aligned.
Okay.
Um, okay, so now we have two columns here, which I think probably works. So this is going to be the what's it called, the Latin name or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, maybe something that makes it stand out
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more. And
Okay.
then I don't know, maybe for fun you could put this up here, like, what's interesting about it.
Mm.
Um, Something like that. I have a 6-year-old son and he loves animals, and so so I'm thinking, I'm mentally putting myself in his mind a little bit too. And then, you can do fun things. One of the another kind of rookie mistake is just thinking that all text is the same. But I would, treat each element as a distinct thing. They all are communicating different information, and so they should all be presented differently. And that is also a good way to scan things, is that if you have a bunch of things that are all the same size text, they all kind of blur together. But
Mm-hmm.
when you use kind of different visual treatments, then they're perceived differently. So this, for this vulnerable status, I would do something, uh, let's make this more visual to tell people that there's, something that they should know here. And even, color code it.
Yeah,
Something like
that
that.
I mean, that box is gonna be red, like we had on our other. I didn't really deal with color yet on my first go, but
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely important for something like that to highlight it with color for sure.
Oops. But this might just be a good thing to do while you're designing, so that you're thinking about different ways to present different information.
Okay. And it's also more clear. I mean, the developers,
Mhm,
oh, I want it red. Okay, cool.
and then you can start, getting into this a little bit. And I would think about, my connection's kind of slow now. I would think about using alignment. So using right and left alignment to make things easier can as well.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that as well, because I know when I'm moving stuff, you know, it shows me a whole bunch of different lines because it's like, oh, what are you trying to align it with? And I was wondering, because sometimes I thought I was aligning it in the middle when I wasn't so much. So how do I know if it's exactly centered?
Right. Yeah, that can be a little tricky when you have a lot of pages. What you can do is start with the thing that is the largest container. So that's probably going to be the web page element itself. And then do a shift click so you can see there's a little plus there.
Yeah.
So now you have two things selected, and then you can do the align center. And so that tells it align with the largest element. So rather than just dragging it around and trying to get exactly right. Yeah. Just make sure you select the thing that is the biggest thing and align it with that.
Okay.
And sometimes it's better to just do that at the end, get it approximate for now, and then when you're done, when everything is kind of vertically where you want it, then go through and select all the things and, you know, then do the alignment step. And you can use this align button a lot. And then also the fewer things that you have kind of out of line will make fewer of those lines too. So all of these right now are aligned on the same line.
Okay.
So there's, you know, if I put something else in that line, you know, there's only one line for it to line up with here rather than a couple.
Okay. So, awesome.
And then, so what is okay, so this is kind of other information about it.
Yeah, so that's just going to be it's not going to be a text box. It's going to be very succinct info. It's like, it's just a few words. Yeah, no sentences, mostly, you know, just like little facts. And yeah, no, I was thinking, you know, I kind of want to include some fun facts, especially, I think, especially for kids. I think it's really interesting to have, you know, some fun facts. And I don't know exactly where, I'm not like 100% satisfied with where it is right now. I just didn't know where else to put it. So for now, I just left it where it is right there. But yeah, that's it. Because right now, I think it's actually on our website right now. The container is not exactly the way I want it, but there you could see, you know, just the little snippets,
Yeah, I like it. I would suggest using some kind of color here, again, to thinking in terms of just the way people are going to be scanning. So to indicate that this is a different section, but yet it's still part of this larger section of the cheetah. So either using the idea of the boxes is good, just because visually they look different. So either using colors for these, or maybe putting kind of a box around this that's a color. And
creating a new section, or
yeah, kind of like a mini section. I can, let's see, I can send this backwards so that these things appear on top. You know, just a suggestion, just to kind of like,
no, I like that,
break it up a little bit. And then what is this?
So it actually moved. So if you go back to the
the other one.
Yeah, so you go back. So there, it's just like participating members. So it's going to have all the logos for that participate in that program, in the Cheetah program.
Oh, okay.
And then break, and then, you know, so we have, you know, a proven approach, but it's a slightly different for each species or each program. And so then break, and then our breeding centers coalition, which is a sub program under the Cheetah, and then, but this is all still Cheetah. So not until here where I was like, some type of break between species, you know, I want to make it visually clear that it's going on to the next species. I didn't know exactly what I wanted there, but I know I want something.
Gotcha.
And then the next one, this is where it starts, Resilience Story of the American Red Wolf. So that's where the Red Wolf part of the page would start. And also, after I finished this page, I didn't change it, but after I finished this page, I was like, oh, maybe we should have the Red Wolf first, since we just came out with a film about it. Maybe it should be Red Wolf and then Cheetah, because a film is something, you know, it catches your eye, it's moving, you know, something's moving on the page. So we might actually flip the species. And I was like, when I finished, I was like, no, I'm not moving anything yet.
Yeah, that's something that should be easy to do once you build it.
Sure. But yeah, so these things moved a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this would go
be there. Yeah, with some space, of course, but it would be under the facts. And would you say doing the notes the way I have the comments, is that the best way to communicate my thoughts? Or
yeah, I'm a big fan of using these sticky notes because it's clear that they're not part of the design and they stand out as like, okay, this is something that I need to know. You know, you could do something like, you could put the text in here, but then that's maybe kind of more easily skipped. So these sticky notes are really good. There's also, I don't know if you know, but there's this button here that allows you to turn off all what's called markup, which are kind of like notes and annotations. So just in one toggle. And I believe when you export it, there's also an option to
include wireframe notes.
That's the notes.
What's the difference between the notes and the comments?
The notes are what appear here. So you can type in some notes here. Yeah, I don't remember about turning off the markup in the PDF. It might do it automatically based on whether it's on or off. But that can be useful too. All right, so we see that so it's just skipping ahead, we see that for the Red Wolf, there's a few different elements. There's the video, and then there's a gallery. So we want to think about how those might look in this template, even if they're not being used by the cheetah.
Yeah, so the reason I wasn't sure about the gallery at the bottom, because my comment up here is like, oh, what is the best header? Is it a photo of the cheetah because the cheetah's, you know, being spoken about or talked about first? Or is it best to have the gallery up first and have it be cheetah wolf, like every other photo is going to be, you know, the other animal. Or like I said, if we bring Red Wolf to the top, maybe it makes more sense to have the video be the first thing you see.
Yeah, I like the idea of having an image, but another option you could do is you could have, I know this isn't a cheetah, but you could have, you know, a big image of the animal at the top of the section too.
Yes, I've thought about that as well. Yeah.
You know, even something like that.
What would you recommend then as the first thing you see? Like nothing at all, or?
So then you could just have something, you know, because if the image is going to go, you know, near the top, you know, it would look more like this kind of.
Okay.
And so you still are presented with an image fairly, you know, kind of prominently. Yes. So it doesn't look so boring like a text, just a block of text. So I would say those are two different options, and there's a way to make alternate versions, which you could kind of like branch off at this point, and you could do a design that's has one versus the other. You can also just duplicate it and say, okay, I'm going to try one variation with that image header, and I'm going to try another variation with the text.
So the other option that you just showed, the create alternate versions. So I'm going to do that real quick. I just want to see what that looks like. So, oh, then it shows you like what you changed?
It doesn't show, well, you can have both of them side by side, so you can see, and you can also like, it's a way to keep something around that you decided not to do. Okay. And so then you can kind of like promote it to the current one, or just kind of keep it for reference. So either you can create an alternate or you can just create a duplicate. So I might just do a duplicate and then kind of redo what I just did, and just, sometimes you have an idea and you kind of want to explore it a little bit. And then that might actually change the layout. I might do a slightly different layout in that case. Maybe I would, because I don't have that big image, maybe I would put this up here, put this down here, and then I would take that, or what I'll just do is I'll do an image here, and then I'll just say photo of a cheetah, and either, yeah, I don't know if you want something. Well, I know that other one is going to have the video. So what we could do is have, always have some kind of something visual, and in some cases maybe it will be a photo, and in some cases maybe it will be the video. And maybe that's a way to have it kind of a consistent type, format. So there's some sort of media here.
Quick question, just out of curiosity, what do you find for you personally more user-friendly or more appealing when you're like, you prefer seeing a photo? I mean, one thing that we currently have on our website is the photo takes up the whole page, or not the whole page, the whole section that you see when you're on the page. And we don't want that. We want, that's why I think I wrote in my comment, like, no larger than 2/3 of what you see when you're first on the page, for sure. But for you, just out of curiosity, what do you find?
I don't think, generally I think that those images end up taking up a lot of space, and also because a lot of them proportionally, they're not, most animals aren't shaped like this, you need more space like this, and then so all of a sudden you're scrolling down a lot. So I like that idea. I would explore that concept more, actually. I think that's a good idea. So something more like this, and then we could do this, so it's always interesting because you kind of change one thing and then that changes your thoughts on other things. But this is something that could definitely work as well.
Yeah.
So there's not always a clear-cut winner. There's just kind of like, you kind of work with what you have. But I kind of like
that, yeah. And one thing I would add, I would probably make it I'm going back and forth between like a photo or a gallery, because we actually have some really amazing photos. These to kind of, show what photos we have. Because no good, I enjoy them, but I want to share it with people, and no one's gonna know if it's sitting in our Google Drive folder.
Yeah, so we can do this to indicate that this may or may not be.
Are there also dots? Do you have that in there as well as an icon?
Oh yeah, I believe so. So if you look in the icons, there's a whole bunch of them. So you can either scroll through it, or if you add any icon and double click on it, it will bring up the whole library. So so you could do this one. Yeah, that's right. I know that's what your galleries are now.
Quick question. So let's say I have the photo like that, or whatever. Say, right now it's horizontal, and I'm like, I changed my mind. I want it to be vertical. Is there a way to flip it?
To flip the image in the wireframe?
Yes. Or just anything, because I think here you can just do it yourself. But if it's something where you can't actually change the size, but you decide you want it to flip the orientation of it, is that possible?
I believe in. Let's see what you can do with images. You can rotate images. You can resize them. I mean, that's why it's nice to use kind of these placeholders, because you don't have, you can just make it whatever size you want. But if it's all of a sudden it's going to be,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
If it's going to be a proportion like this, then it's going to change your layout. So it's good to, anticipate what it's going to be like and then stick to that.
Okay. Yeah, I know what, I don't remember what I was working on. It wasn't an image because obviously like I can change the dimension, but it was something else that I had chosen one, type of layout. I was like, no, I want it the other way. And, and then I didn't, but again, I don't remember what it was, but it was just,
there is also an option. There's something called transform, which is you can transform one control to another control rather than deleting something and adding it. So if I want to make this instead a button, I can do that. I can transform to, and it can make it a link instead.
Where was
for
that
example.
So
right click. You right click and do transform to. Also, it's in this area.
Okay. Awesome. You guys put a lot of thought into this.
I've been working on this one tool for over 10 years, so I like these sections. These are good. These use good use of different text sizes, and you already had the idea to use the horizontal lines, so that is good. In this case, because you have multiple sections for each kind of element, each animal, I would then maybe use space to indicate, to separate the next animal.
Do you recommend putting something there, like a color or photo, or like what would you find? Like if you were on the site, you're like, oh, my brain like now acknowledges I'm going on to something new.
Right.
A clear space because it's already filled with so much that it's kind of like nice to have like nothing. Before moving on, what do you think?
I would maybe use a color that, like maybe I mean, this is just kind of what my gut tells me, like a dark color. But also assuming maybe that people are going to be jumping to it from one of those links on the top. But I would maybe just use a color that's not used somewhere else.
I like that. It's clean. It's simple.
Yeah.
You're not.
And and space too, or just a color.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
You kind of play around and see what yeah, and then I think you can have pretty much the same layout for the wolf as well.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we're out of time. It went pretty quickly.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Well, thank you so much.
I will send you a link to this so you can use it and you can play with it and send it to other people.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll send you links to some articles too that can be helpful for when you are, to kind of help you with this. So this back to top would be, but when you're, do that.
That'd be on the right side.
Yeah, I would put it on the right side or right next to the name of the animal. But since they're in big sections like that, I would maybe put it on the right, but just aligned. With the, yeah.
One last question, real quick, on the graph. Is there a way to, if I wanted the exact graph, like if I have all the numbers to do that, or would I just import an image?
What I usually do, so there's not, you can change different bar versus pie chart or whatever, but they're just placeholders. So I would just do an image of the actual graph.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Or you can use sticky notes to tell what the graph will look like or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, you can just drag and drop images in there.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully this is kind of a good start and as a way of just kind of thinking about approaching your wireframe, just treating each of these elements as their own distinct thing and thinking about how you can use different formatting, sizes, colors, and layout so that, when your eye scans it, it doesn't all look the same. It's kind of a good principle to follow when you're doing this.
Awesome. I'm really excited to continue working on this and try new things and giving me more ideas. So
good. Well, yeah, you can send me a link when you're
Oh
got some
yeah, when
ideas.
we're about to, yeah, I will in the next week or so. I'll definitely send you some more stuff. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you guys do. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for what you do as well. It's
Oh, thank you.
all right. Well, thanks a lot, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a good weekend. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.